Good evening, I am Fayyaz Qureishi with the Sunday Express. Stay tuned for extensive election news stories. Our sign language interpreter for tonight's edition is Ladsa Odinge. But first, a quick look at the highlights for tonight's bulletin. Seeking divine intervention, presidential candidates go down on their knees ahead of the duel on Tuesday. What is expected of you as a voter? The electoral body enlightens Kenyans on their obligations at the polling station. And we are watching various election observation bodies dispatch teams across the country. Welcome back. Azimio la Umoja One coalition presidential candidate Raila Odinga has said he will strive to ensure the country maintains peace during the general election on Tuesday. Raila, who attended a peace prayer meeting in Nairobi, said his coalition will endeavour to unite the country, assuring that there will be no bloodshed in Kenya.
We have come to worship you only, King of Kings, Lion of Judah.
Raila Odinga, who attended pre-election prayers that were held at the KICC alongside his running mate Martha Karua, said once elected president, he will work hard to see the country rise above corruption that has contributed to suffering of many Kenyans.
And we say that the fourth enemy, because we have identified the enemies of our people: ignorance, poverty, disease, and corruption. Without slaying the dragon of corruption, we cannot deal with the other three major enemies of our country.
We have come to worship you, King of Kings.
Raila said he will work tirelessly to unite the country after the elections, even as he called on Kenyans to maintain peace during the electioneering period.
We want a peaceful country, that no life should be lost at the hands of any other person. And that we also said that we want to see this country united. That basically is the essence of Azimio la Umoja, One Kenya.
Let us pray.
The clergy who led the sermons took the opportunity to pray for the families of former late presidents Daniel Moi and Moi Kibaki.
We worship you, O King of all kings. Abba, Father, if we have worshipped the gods of the mountains, if we have worshipped the gods of the valleys, if we have worshipped the gods of the hills, all this is adultery before your eyes, O God.
A special prayer was also said for the outgoing President Uhuru Kenyatta and his family. While dedicating the country to God, Azimio la Umoja One Kenya leader Raila Odinga called on Kenyans not to be divided by their political affiliations and maintain peace before and after the elections. Beatrice Getonyenge-Tich, Sunday Express.
Deputy President William Ruto has hailed the role the church has played in uniting Kenyans ahead of the August 9th general election. Ruto, who is contesting for president in Tuesday's election, promised to work together with the church in implementing his development agenda if he wins. The deputy president also called on all political aspirants to ensure the country goes through a peaceful voting exercise.
With only a day to go before the 2022 general election, United Democratic Alliance leaders have called on Kenyans and their opponents to maintain peace in the August 9th polls.
Raundi hii tumeshanuka. Raundi hii tumeona mwangaza. Tumejua hakuna shida ya Mkikuyu tofauti na ya Mjaluo. Hakuna njaa ya Mkisii tofauti na ya Mkalenjin. Takuwa jirani yako ni ndugu yako. Wakati huu tumesema hakuna kiongozi atatutumia vibaya Nairobi.
We have committed to peace through our leader, Dr. William Samoei Ruto, and we encourage all Kenyans to equally commit to peace as they cast their vote.
Na wakumbusha Wakenya wote katika taifa letu la Kenya wakumbuke maneno ya Mathayo 5:9 yanayosema heri wapatanishi kwa sababu wataitwa wana wa Mungu. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they will be called the children of God.
Deputy President William Ruto, who will be eyeing the presidential seat on a UDA ticket, says the ball was now in the court of Kenyans, calling on voters to elect a leader who is capable and committed to improving the livelihood of Kenyans.
Mahali tulikutanisha uongozi na neno la Mungu ni pale kwa bottom up. Hapo kwa bottom up na wakumbusha, ukisoma Zaburi 113 verses 7 and 8, neno la Mungu linasema Mungu humtoa mtu mnyonge mavumbini, na huyo Mungu humwezesha fukara na maskini mpaka wakaketi meza moja na wafalme.
The Deputy President, while speaking at a church service at the Jesus Teaching Ministry in Kayole, reiterated his intention of working with the church in safeguarding the freedom of worship by protecting religious institutions.
Nataka niwashukuru sana kwa kuombea taifa letu la Kenya.
Amen.
Najua ya kwamba ni maombi ya Wakristo wengi na watu wa Mungu wengi katika taifa letu la Kenya ndio inatufanya tuweze kufika mahali tumefika siku ya leo kama taifa na kama viongozi.
Ruto urging Kenyans to come out and vote for what's best for the country on Tuesday.
Father, I anoint them in the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit, in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit.
For Sunday Express, I'm Richard Munga.
A voter is required to match each of the 6 ballot papers issued at the polling station with its designated ballot box defined by matching colors for it to be valid for counting. For instance, the presidential ballot paper, which is white, should go into the white ballot box. Each ballot paper is also supposed to be stamped at the back. These were among requirements highlighted during an election simulation exercise conducted by the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission aimed at ensuring a smooth process come Tuesday.
This is our polling station.
Late Sunday evening, with less than 48 hours to the August polls, the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission held an election simulation exercise.
Then the next 3 clerks will issue ballot papers to the voters according to the elective positions.
The simulation highlighted several possible scenarios expected across the 46,229 polling stations spread across the country.
Before they are issued with the ballot papers, I must do one very important legal requirement. The assistant must be of the age of majority, must have an ID card, doesn't have to be a registered voter. Then I will ask the assistant to fill this form. It's called Declaration of Secrecy form by a person assisting a voter. So that, because she will know for which candidate this voter has voted for, she must maintain the secrecy of that choice for the rest of her life.
IEBC will allow assisted voting for those physically challenged to be assisted as prescribed by the law. However, those assisting in the voting exercise have to be of legal age and preferably registered voters to vote at the respective polling station.
With 2 marks, one on the small finger for having voted, another one on the thumb for having assisted.
The second mark to deter repeat assists by the same individual. Dispatch of IEBC officials will commence tomorrow, Monday the 8th, a day to the elections. Key to note is that if you intend to participate in the upcoming August polls that are just less than 48 hours away, you need that document that you use to register as a voter. It could be your passport, let it be valid, or your national ID card. Without that particular document, you are going to be missing out on an opportunity to exercise your democratic right. You're watching Kenya Decides, and we are live from the National Tallying Center at the Bomas of Kenya. I'm Regina Manyara.
The Intergovernmental Authority on Development, IGAD, is urging stakeholders in the August 9th general elections to ensure Kenya gets credible and peaceful elections. IGAD has deployed 24 short-term election observers to 11 counties across the country.
The head of IGAD short-term election observation mission to Kenya, Dr. Mulatu Teshome, on Sunday oversaw the deployment of 24 short-term election observers to 11 counties. The observers, including representatives of electoral bodies and diplomats, are drawn from 6 IGAD member states. The team has been deployed to the counties of Nairobi, Nyeri, Uasin Gishu, Nakuru, Kajiado, Kisumu, Kisii, Kakamega, Machakos and Mombasa.
We have one common interest in Africa, and it is to see a peaceful and credible election in the country, in Kenya, and a peaceful transition of power.
Dr. Mulatu said that IGAD was hopeful that the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission would deliver a credible election.
So my take is that this time around, the IEBC will be in a position to reflect the wishes of the Kenyan people in a very transparent manner.
The mission will share its findings on the conduct of the electoral process, as well as recommendations for future electoral processes.
We're going to link live with the Commonwealth Games in Birmingham. It's the 1500 meters final. Let's hope for the best.
Hull has got better and better over the last few years. There she is, just next to Nanyondo. Gemma Reekie was just off the podium in the 8 last year. She's bouncing back from glandular fever. They look nervous. I've been watching them through the binoculars. There's a great sense of anticipation ahead of this final, and this is a brilliant lineup. Some fabulous women have won this title and featured on the podium. Olympic champions, world champions. Which of these 12 will be joining that wonderful list? And can Laura Muir deliver a fabulous victory for Scotland, just as Eilish McColgan did in the 10 and will hope to do later on this evening in the 5?
The Commonwealth and around the world. Watching our next final here at Birmingham.
And they have just about the very best seats in the house.
It's the women's 1500 metre final.
Here we go then. You can sense the electricity even up here in the commentary box. Kira McGeehan, European bronze medalist back in 2016. 4th in Birmingham and Rome. The first Irishwoman to go under 2 minutes for the 8. Katie Snowden will get a big reception. The Englishwoman, a former world youth finalist over the 800, made the semis this year in Eugene and last year at the Worlds. And listen to this. The favourite, the Olympic silver medalist, the World Championship bronze medalist, Laura Muir, aiming for history for Scotland. Edna Jevitok, a former world youth bronze medalist. She only made the semis last year. She's 20, but she's hugely talented, as is Abby Caldwell, second in the Oceanian Championships. One of 2 Australians in this field. And now to Winnie Chebet, the other Kenyan. She's been around a long time, just off the podium in Doha. Melissa Courtney Bryant, she got a bronze back on the Gold Coast. Came through as one of the non-automatic qualifiers, but she'll be pin sharp this evening. Winnie Nanyondo, a bronze in Glasgow over the 800 metres. She lines up next to Lyndon Hall. She was just off the podium in this event. on home soil. Could she upgrade here thousands of miles away? Gemma Reekie was brilliant last season. She's been hampered this year by that glandular fever. Didn't make the 800 final, but she's here in the 15 hoping to go well. Jess Hull, she's got better and better and better. Semis in Doha, 11th in the Olympics, 7th last month in Eugene. And Lucia Stafford missed out on a place in the Olympic final last year by a whisker. But she's made the big one tonight, and she will hope to ignite the Canadian fans. 5 sub-4 minute performers, a whole host of world medalists, Commonwealth medalists and European medalists. Is this the night for Muir to taste gold for Scotland? Expect the noise to grow here in the stadium. The curtain is coming down tonight on a brilliant week of athletics, and this, Tim Hutchings, is an intriguing final, and Laura Muir, the favourite, has gone straight to the back.
Laura tends to do that in races where she feels she's got the measure of the field. She will just watch proceedings. The only danger is if somebody goes down and it's slow and there's a bit of barging and pushing and somebody goes down, then Laura could get caught up in that. But at the moment she's nice and relaxed there and back to the back. But 5 athletes in this field, Rob, have got personal bests under 4 minutes. There's plenty of quality in there that Laura Muir will need to be aware of. It's not a foregone conclusion that she will take this gold, even though on paper, after that brilliant medal in Eugene, she is strong favourite. It's pretty slow, about 50 seconds there at 300.
And that's why it's bunched. McGeehan onto the shoulder of Jess Hull. Hull's got a great chance of getting on the podium here, the 25-year-old Australian. She's just having a look up on the big screen and glances left to the Northern Irish woman. Jevicock just had her heels clipped there. And now, oh, look at this. There's plenty of bumping and barging. Chebet was trying to come wide on the outside, and so too was Abby Caldwell. But she's decided to go back into that group. And now, Tim, Laura Muir, just coming into shot, is starting to make her way through the pack. This is slow.
Well, it's very slow, Rob. It doesn't matter if you're running around the outside an extra couple of metres around the bends. And I think Laura Muir realises that it's so slow that she might as well get out in front and begin to control things, or at least be nearer the front. That first 400, by the way, 67.82, almost 68 seconds. It's about 4:15 tempo earlier on. It's picked up a lot now, but it was very slow. They're coming now towards 800 to go. Let's see if it's hard and fast from here. Will somebody make a long challenge to try and defeat Muir?
Hull, the Australian, is still tucked in on the inside. There's been all sorts of elbows flying. It's the two Kenyans, Chebet and Chevitok, who keep getting their heels clipped, and now it begins to open up. That was a little bit more punchy with a 67. McGeehan looking strong there for Northern Ireland. Hall is holding that inside line, but she needs to really concentrate, the Australian, because if it moves quickly, she could suddenly find herself boxed. Laura Muir is on the Northern Irish woman's shoulder. She's in the right position here, getting ready to strike.
Well, she is perfectly positioned. Yes, it's still slow. 67.6 second lap, 2:15 at 800 is pedestrian for an athlete of Laura Muir's calibre. Now she begins to wind it up. 500 metres out. This is what she's done, specialising in a long drive for home. And who can match her? Straight into a slipstream, almost immediately, Rob, almost single file. We saw this coming. There's nothing they can do about it.
Laura Muir striking for gold and striking for history for Scotland. She's gone early, 500 metres, and she has stormed to the front. Ciara McGeehan running brilliantly here, and she's got at least 20 metres on the rest. Listen to the crowd, they're willing her on. Remember, no Scottish woman has ever won this title, and McGeehan hasn't been broken yet. It's a superb run by the European bronze medalist for 2016. Now Muir's face etched with pain, but etched with determination, and she's beginning to open up the gap here. This is a sensational run from the World Championship bronze medalist. It was a huge breakthrough last year when she finally got a global medal and became the Olympic silver medalist. And at last, after bronze at the Worlds and silver at the Olympics, it's all gold tonight for Muir. She's the Commonwealth champion. She makes history for Scotland. McGeehan with a wonderful, wonderful silver. Absolutely incredible. Muir grabbed that race by the scruff of the neck. It was so bold and so brave to go so hard with 500 to go, but she was not to be denied. She waited, and when she pounced, none of them could respond. Muir has a major gold medal at last. That was sensational, and the crowd were willing her on every single step of the way.
I think, Rob, even she thought she'd gone a little too early. She was really hurting with about 200 to go. She was working so hard coming past the 150 to go marker. McGeehan, well, that is fabulous for Northern Ireland. A bronze medal, a season's best 4:04. It's not been the best of seasons for the athlete coached by Steve Vernon. She knows that. The first Irish woman to go under 2 minutes, but she hasn't had a vintage season. It now has got a wonderful silver lining because Northern Ireland have silver there. And the bronze going to Abby Caldwell of Australia. Lyndon Hall in 4th place. But yes, Muir ultimately a class apart, as we expected.
Great bronze for Abby Caldwell. All the Australians were beginning to queue up. She was just in front of Lyndon Hall, in fact. It was Jess Hull who ended up fading out of the 3 Australians. But Muir has been such a great ambassador for athletics in Britain and for Scotland. She's been working so hard for so many years. 5th in Beijing at the Worlds, 4th in London at the Worlds, 5th in the Worlds in Doha, 7th in Rio at the Olympics. But last year's breakthrough at Tokyo was huge. And what a moment of confidence and self-belief here. 500 to go, and she suddenly put the injection in. McGeehan ran a wonderful race. She was the only one who could get anywhere close to Muir on that last lap. But that is really bold, Tim, to go with 500 to go with a really, really classy field right behind you.
Well, it is, but Laura had it clearly worked out. She and her coach Andy Young have probably talked about it and decided what was best. McGeehan got a look at her as she came past and was able to up her tempo. Had almost had a little bit of warning compared with the rest of the field. But I'm surprised nobody else tried to go with this over the first couple hundred metres of it. Here she is with 200 to go. She's been blasting away for 300 metres at this point. That's why the gaps have opened up so much. You can see Gemma Reekie back in 3rd place. Reekie ended up in 5th place at the line. But here, I don't think there's a great deal of difference in speed between Laura Muir and McGeehan, who ran superbly. It's a massive step up in performance from the Northern Irish runner, Ciara McGeehan. Laura Muir grimacing flat out from a long way out. She had to really work for this, but it is what we saw in Eugene, isn't it? Fantastic speed, endurance and mental strength.
Both. And she's rounding into shape. It hasn't been the perfect start to her season for Muir. We saw her a couple of wobbly performances early on in the Diamond League.
Mpiga kura upo. IEBC imeweka mikakati kurahisisha utaratibu wa kupiga kura. Uingiapo kituoni utahitajika kuwasilisha kitambulisho au pasipoti yako kwa karani wa IEBC. Maelezo yako yatathibitishwa kwenye mtambo wa KIMS. Baada ya kutambulishwa, utapewa karatasi 6 za kura zenye rangi tofauti za nyadhifa mbalimbali. Elekea kwenye sehemu iliyotengwa kupigia kura kwa siri na uweke alama moja tu kwa kila karatasi kumchagua kiongozi umtakaye. Kisha tumbukiza kila kura kwenye sanduku lenye kifuniko cha rangi sawa na kura yako. Mwishowe utapokwa wino kwenye kidole na uondoke kituoni. IEBC, your vote, your future.
Business, wasn't it, for Laura Muir? She was one of the first athletes to say, I'm coming to Birmingham to do these Commonwealth Games for Scotland when it was announced. Remember, she tripped in 2014 and had her dreams dashed. She didn't take part in 2018 because of her veterinary studies. She wanted this gold so badly. So very good for the Scottish team. McGeehan as well. There's an old teammate of mine there, Helen Clitheroe on the right of the shot. But that means so much to Laura Muir.
Brilliant from Muir. She had the platform, she had the belief, and she had the stamina. Laura Muir becomes the Commonwealth champion. Ciara McGeehan with the race of her life for Northern Ireland, a wonderful silver, and Abby Caldwell was the best of all 3 of the Australians, and she is rewarded with the bronze. Well, the two Kenyans were a long way out of it in the end. It was just too slow for some of them on the first couple of laps, but when Muir went to the front, none of them, other than McGeehan, could even begin to respond. It was a masterful, masterful win for Muir.
We're picking up in round 2 of the women's long jump with Brooke Bushkakul of Australia. She laid down a monster of a jump, 6.88 in the first round. Can she build? And that one looks huge again. I mean, her precision with the board is amazing considering how fast she is running and how much power she's putting down that runway. I mean, it almost looks like a foul. She's having it perfect. 3 centimeters on the board again. She uses a really simple but very effective hang technique and really, again, just gets her feet up. And that is always worth an extra 10 centimeters. 6.87, that is incredibly consistent and bodes well for the rest of the competition.
So here's Ruth Usoro of Nigeria, open with 6.56. She's in 4th place. That looks pretty similar. That looks very similar for the Nigerian. 5th in the triple jump here on Friday. 4th at the moment in this competition. Bushkul behind that second round jump, by the way, plus 1.6. Usoro here for Nigeria into a slight headwind, minus 0.4. It is no jump though. Stays in 4th.
So after a brilliant women's 1500 metres final, we drop down in distance and have 2 laps of Alexander Stadium for the men's 800 metre final. Scottish interest in this one. Yeah, the records, what tough records they are. I'm not just talking about the world record of 140.91 by David Rudisha, but that record by Steve Cram, the games record of 143.22. It stood the test of time for a reason. There is Peter Bol of Australia. He'll start in lane number 5. Could he become just the second man to win the Commonwealth title for Australia in this event? Looked good in qualifying, but as did 2 or 3 of the other athletes around him. Big opportunity for Peter Bol, coming off the back of those recent World Championships in Oregon, finished in the top 8 position. Kinyamal of Kenya, though, the reigning champion, will start in the lane inside the Australian athlete.
This has got the makings of a great race, Catherine. Bol is aiming to become the first Australian to win this title in 40 years. Kinyamal aiming to become the first in history to successfully defend the crown. It could be epic.
So here's the start list then for the men's 800 metre final. England, Scotland, Jamaica, Ghana, Kenya and Botswana are represented. Kenya have won this title 9 times. Can Kinyamal of Kenya make that 10 gold medals for Kenya in this 800 metres? Navaski Anderson of Jamaica then will start in lane number 9. Their national champion, 145.02 this year. Studies in the USA from Kingston, Jamaica. Jamie Webb of England will start in 8. Looked very good in qualifying, a semi-finalist at the World Championships in 2019, a European indoor bronze medal last year. Also looking good in qualifying, Ben Patterson of England, the 20-year-old. The last 2-3 years, he's absolutely been flying. Alex Amwankwa, 144.8 at his best. Disqualified at the World Championships, the national record holder from Ghana starts in 6. Peter Bol then of Australia, 4th at the Olympic Games in Tokyo, missed a medal by half a second, he starts in 5. Wycliffe Kinyamal of Kenya, the reigning champion, 8th at the World Championships recently in Oregon. There'll be a huge roar for Scotland's Guy Learmonth. He'll start in lane number 3. 6th at the Commonwealth Games back in 2014, a semi-finalist back in London at the World Championships. Boitumelo Masilo of Botswana ran in the heats of the Rio Olympics back in 2016, inside 146 at his best. So the crowd have had a nice little taste of women's middle distance running with that tasty women's 1500 metre final.
On your marks.
Potentially they're in for an absolute treat here. The final of the men's 800 metres. Can this athlete, Peter Bol of Australia, hold off the Kenyan charge, hold off the English charge? Going round the first bend for the first time, Kinyamal in lane number 4. Happy to get in to the pole position potentially. They cut across down the back straight.
This is a massive night for Australia after Ollie Hall won the 1500 metres. A little bit of shoulder barging. Remember last year in Tokyo, Bol led until about 30 metres from the finish line, and it's the Jamaican now getting his heels clipped. Anderson on the outside, the Ghanaian just keeping out the way there, and man quite sensibly. Kinyamal, remember, bidding to become the first man in history to successfully defend this title, but there's all sorts going on here as they're jostling for position. The two big guns in first and second. Who's going to go for it first?
55.5 at the 400 metre point. It's tight. Keep an eye on Jamie Webb, the English athlete there on the left of your shot, coming onto the shoulder of the Ghanaian. Kinyamal, Bol, Webb. The piercing stare of Webb of England, trying to hold on to the change of pace from Kenya and Australia. Guy Learmonth on the inside for Scotland in 4th.
Kinyamal's going for this with 200 to go. He makes his bold bid for glory. Bol is hanging on. Remember, no Australians won this for 40 years. But he's falling back here. Can Kinyamal continue to pull away? It's between these two.
Kinyamal, Bol, look at Patterson for England. It's a battle for the gold. It's going to be won by the Kenyan. 147.52, a pat on the shoulder from Peter Bol of Australia, who picks up the silver medal. Brilliant running by England's Ben Patterson to pick up the bronze. But he collapses to the ground. The 25-year-old Kenyan came here to defend his title. And Wycliffe Kinyamal of Kenya does pick up the 10th gold medal for Kenya in the men's 800 metres. What a race. Brilliant from the Kenyan.
He went early and he knew he had the high-quality Peter Bol, born in Sudan, now proudly representing Australia. The 800 final last year was the most watched moment from the Olympic Games from the Australian public. He's a massive star, Bol, and that was also a massive performance by the youngster Ben Patterson. He looked really good this season, had a great run in Stockholm. I thought he might feature, but Kinyamal was bold enough to go with about 2:20 left, and despite the fact that Bol went with him, he wound it up, and that is a brilliant way to take the title. No one has ever gone back-to-back victories. He is the first.
Do you know what? If you're going to go into the last 300 a metre down, you've got to know you're a metre quicker than the bloke in front of you, and he wasn't. He finished about a metre down. And Kinyamal, you're right, took the initiative. I think Bol tactically got it 95% right. He maybe should have wanted to be on the curb in the lead with 300 to go, and he wasn't. And that's what ended up being decisive. Here it is, down the back straight. They still haven't really hit the hammer flat out here. I mean, it was almost a 250 race, Kath.
It was. Jamie Webb committed, didn't he, and tried to go with the leading two. He ended up in 4th place at 148.6. But Kinyamal here put his foot down. But keep your eye on Ben Patterson, the English athlete who picked up a bronze, 20 years old. The last 3 years, he's taken a second off his lifetime best every single year. A 144.6 runner, awarded with a bronze medal here. But no, the Kenyan, not today, not to be denied, and picked up the gold medal in that exciting men's 800 metres. We knew it was going to be a battle, Rob, potentially between these two, and it didn't disappoint.
Oh, it was a brilliant race. He was bold. And as Tim said, that first couple of steps, when you put the accelerator on, if you then run the rest of the race at the same pace, you've already got that half a yard. This is where he really started to motor round this bend. Patterson came from miles back. He was third last at this point, and now comes his charge. to get himself on the podium. Everybody's really excited about Max Bergin in England, and Bergin is brilliant, but he keeps getting injured. Patterson stepping out of his young compatriot's shadow. But Kinyamal kept driving, kept pushing, kept believing, and it was the fact that he hit the gas first that just got him over the line.
Well, he's got a personal best of 46.55 seconds over 400 metres, the Kenyan, and the speed was used there to win the gold medal. There's confirmation. Kenya pick up the gold with Wycliffe Kinyamal, 147.52, a silver for Peter Bol of Australia, and Ben Patterson picks up the bronze.
Picking up in round 2 of the long jump. Now this is a tense moment. Essay Brune has registered a no mark on her first jump. She is not going to want to do that again here. And oh, that is big, but that was very close to the board. I mean, she looks confident. I feel like she's quite confident there that has been a valid jump. And if that is, that just might take the lead from Deborah Akwa of Ghana. Oh, 1 centimetre. Tim, I don't think you could be more perfect.
Well, I'll tell you what, it was perfect because she made a little adjustment. There were a couple of little stuttery steps before the board, but that is a massive effort.
That is, in fact, a new Commonwealth Games record at 6 meters 99. Will we see a 7 meter jump tonight?
Well, only 1 more centimetre to find, Steph, before we get potentially our 7 metre jump. But from one field event final to another, the men's javelin throw. Here is your start list. 13 athletes are due to line up. They have waited so patiently throughout this athletic programme here at Birmingham 2022. And the familiar names of Yago in the mix, Peter's here as well. There's a shot of the 800-gram javelins, and we'll get underway shortly.
So, Samantha Dale next to go. She's Dale outside the top 8. This is round 3. Opened with 6:02, needs 6:41, and I'm not sure that's enough. No jump in the second round. This is a real pressure jump from the Australian. She gives it everything. Good lift off the board, and it's a lot better than her opener. Good on the board as well, Dale. Has the 21-year-old done enough? I'm not sure she has. It's incredibly tight. 6:35 in qualifying. What's she done here? She needs 6:41. Oh, 6:32. Just shy of it, and in 9th.
Silver medalist at the African Youth and Junior Championships. I mean, 9th and 12th, disappointing, Toby?
Yeah, it's quite disappointing. I mean, given that, Kenyans are known for middle and long distance running, we expected better from our girls, especially at the community level, but not to really let down the day, because Kinyamal, who is also the defending Commonwealth champion, did not let the Kenyans down and came up very bravely and won that very exciting 800-meter final just after the disappointing 1500-meter final by the girls.
Yes, after the disappointment, our spirits were lifted immensely, I must say so. And Wycliffe Kinyamal, the defending Commonwealth Games champion, defended his title, ran a fabulous race and made us Kenyans proud. And it's the 5th gold medal, right?
Yes, the 5th gold medal, and of course we are still expecting that Julius Yego, who has been not very much in the limelight, that can actually bring off another feat like he did in the African Championships and the Olympic silver medalist. So basically Julius Yego comes up after this race, and he will be throwing in the javelin final. And then we shall also have much later on, we shall have Beatrice Chebet, the World Championship silver medalist and the African champion.
Right now, it's the women's 5,000 meter final is starting, and Toby, we have Beatrice Chebet there, right?
Yes, Beatrice Chebet, the World Championship silver medalist. So I hope she's strong enough to take on this time. Then there's Sela Busiene, military games champion. And just to remember that, Kenya now has got 5 gold, which is actually putting up the table. We shall get the table soon after. And also and it's good also to remind the viewers that also for the first time, Kenya has had a medal in the para weightlifting by Wawira, who got a bronze medal. That's something also worth mentioning. Our girl in the para lifting championship won a bronze medal, and that's something to actually call home about. Now we're preparing for the 5,000 meters.
And we're going live now to Birmingham. 5,000 meter women's final.
Beatrice Chebet
and Stella Solomon Islands is in there. No mark for the 35-year-old. Eloise Walker of Scotland. 3 5,000s this year and getting faster each time. She's in good form as the 21-year-old. The Rwandan, Emily Imani-Zabayo. No form for her, the 26-year-old. How will she go? The Ugandan Sarah Chalanga went on the heats of the 5,000 in Tokyo last year, but recently 5th in the African Championships. Beatrice Chebet of Kenya, she could be a real danger. Former World Under-20 champion and the African champion over 5,000 in early June. Beth Kidger of England, the 28-year-old's on 15:49. Stella Chesang of Uganda, well, she will be inspired, surely. She's the Rio champion over 10,000 back in 18. She is the defending champion. Former world mountain running champion too is Chesang. She's clearly a tough customer. She could be the biggest danger to McColgan achieving the double. Well, Eilish McColgan raised the roof in this stadium. Her mum Liz and her dad Peter, I'm sure, are here again. 5,000 metres then, anything around 15 minutes or quicker would be very, very respectable. That would obviously be 3 minutes per kilometre or 72 seconds per lap. Kenya looking for their 5th consecutive gold, incidentally. There's been no non-Kenyan winner since Paula Radcliffe in Manchester back in 2002 when the British athlete, the English athlete, set the Commonwealth Games record of 14:31, and this one has gone off pretty slowly, Rob. I don't think this is going to be a sub-15-minute jobby unless they really pick it up soon.
And maybe one of the likeliest reasons it would be, Tim, is if McColgan, who's just running behind Dominique Scott of South Africa, if she feels it is too slow and wants to turn it into an honest pace. That is where she is most comfortable, at the front, delivering metronomic lap after lap after lap. Chebet and Husseini dominating things at the moment, but they've gone to the front and kind of slowed it down. Chebet is an excellent athlete. Maybe she, along with Chesang, who's tucked in on the inside for Uganda, maybe she could be the biggest threat to McColgan's bid for a truly historic double. And McColgan, if you've been watching her for many years, you'll already know this, she has such a long stride that she has to position herself an extra half a yard ahead of a pack because she runs the risk of having them clip her heels, and that's why she's positioning herself just a little way off the front. This is where she's most comfortable, Tim, and if she can turn it into an honest pace, maybe one by one she can whittle them away.
Well, this is what McColgan is best at, going to the front and just grinding it out. 11th in Eugene in the 5,000 metres, 10th in the 10,000. She's got the London Marathon coming up on October the 2nd. She's confirmed that will be her debut. Really exciting debut, that. But what you know with Eilish is that you will get good, honest racing every time. She's not scared of a hard, consistent tempo. Bushienye looks very comfortable there, doesn't she? The Kenyan on the outside in 3rd place.
Bushkull of Australia is taking her 3rd round jump. She's already delivered 2 huge jumps. Can she get over 7 meters? And that looks very close. At the moment, the lead sits with S.A. Broom at 6 meters 99. She just gets so much height off the board, and her ability to sight the board is incredible, especially when you watch her runway. And just, she has one of the longest runways of the women in the field, and obviously the longer your runway is, the more opportunity for variance. But 6 meters 92, she's still in 3rd place, but so consistent.
Meanwhile, in our other field final, round 1 in this men's javelin, Arshad Nadeem of Pakistan was 5th at the Olympic Games in Tokyo last year. He was also 5th recently at the World Championships in Eugene, Oregon. So looking to get his account open. Oh, that's a good start. Oh, gosh. Clearly over the 85-metre line. His lifetime best is 86.38. That is going to be very close. In his second Commonwealth Games, last 2 majors in 5th position. This is a brilliant opener by Arshad Nadeem of Pakistan. He's really thrown the gauntlet down to the rest of the athletes in this field. Look at the roar. 86.81, a lifetime best into the lead. Julius Yego then of Kenya. Now, if anyone's going to challenge Nadeem of Pakistan, it's going to be Yego. The world champion in 2015, the African champion this year, was disappointed in Oregon. Was 14th in qualifying. Not near his best. Only over 80 metres this year. Oh, but he's responded to Nadeem's throw of 86.81. That's better. He's a 92.72 thrower at his best. A little smile from Julius Yego. It's going to be a huge season's best. He just didn't get it right a couple of weeks ago. Brilliant slow-mo replays. Keeping himself behind the line. He's got close here to the lead. 85.70, a season's best into second.
Back to this 5,000 metres, 4:44 and 4 laps. The first kilometre was a 2:58. McColgan still leading from Dominique Scott of South Africa, but Busiene and Chebet of Kenya in 3rd and 4th, and then Sarah Inglis of Scotland having a good run. Then the Ugandan pairing, Chelangat and Chezang. You can see Busiene on the outside there, just staying off the curb, not really being stretched by this. I don't think Eilish has really cranked it up yet. She's biding her time. We're still inside the first 2 kilometres, remember. That's 4.5 laps done now. And they're on something just inside 15-minute tempo. Nothing particularly daunting, but it is quick enough to begin to whittle down the field. There's 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 beginning to get away.
Yes, and this is good tactics from McColgan. She didn't want that huge group. She won't be feeling uncomfortable at all at knocking out these 71s and 72s. Scott looks really composed in second place. 7th here in the 10,000 metres. They're coming round to lap 1 or 2 of the black markers who've got the slower PBs. I think it's the athlete from the Solomon Islands who hasn't run inside 19 minutes. But Scott looking good in second. It's a little bit ominous. The 2 Kenyans are quite happy at the moment, Tim, just tagging along for the ride. And one by one, this little group will begin to be whittled down. This is good running, though, by McColgan at the moment.
Well, I think we know that McColgan has got the extra gears to wind it up if she needs to. The Kenyans and the Ugandans will know that. One of the Ugandans beginning to drop back now. I think that's Chezang back in about 8th place. So 9th place, in fact. But McColgan calling the shots at the moment, completely in control. They went through 2K in 5:55. An almost identical, slightly quicker second kilometre, 2:58 the first kilometre, 2:57 the second kilometre. But she's a very smart racer. I think Eilish will gradually turn the screw and try to tire this field.
Keyshawn Walcott in the javelin. Trinidad and Tobago, the world number 6 this year. Has gone over 89 metres, the Olympic champion in London 2012. Everybody chasing Nadeem and Yego. Well, it's falling just shy of the 85-metre line. What a brilliant start to this men's javelin throw final. Another athlete, though, like Yego, that was disappointing at the World Championships this year, was just 16th in qualifying. Below the 79-metre line, the 29-year-old. 82.61 into 3rd.
Only 6 now, Tim. One by one, they are falling off McColgan's pace.
Yes, interesting, isn't it? Because it's quick enough to trouble many athletes. Around 14:50 tempo. McColgan, remember, has a lifetime best of 14:28. That is a supreme world class, one of the quickest Europeans ever. But she leads from that Kenyan pairing, Busiene and Chebet in 2nd and 3rd. Then her teammate, Sarah Inglis, having a fabulous run here is English. 9th in the 10,000 here, maybe heading for something better. The athlete from the Lothian club works as a school teacher up in Langley, British Columbia now. But McColgan with the two Kenyans and Inglis, and behind Inglis, Sarah Chalangat of Uganda. Scott just beginning to struggle now, the South African, having to let this quintet go.
And also Chalangat now just beginning to allow a couple of metres to grow. There's a few back markers they're going past, but all of a sudden you've got Scotland in 1st and 4th, Inglis running really well here. I thought she did well in the 10,000 here, 3rd in the national champ. She's in PB shape this year, just outside 15 minutes, but still Luciani and Chebet tucking in behind McColgan. Another 2:57 kilometre. This is what she does best. It's metronomic pacing, and one by one they are falling by the wayside. Her quest to follow again in her mum's footsteps going well. Liz McColgan had a gold in Auckland in the 10,000 and a bronze over the shorter of the longer races. McColgan's eyes, though, are firmly fixed on a second gold.
Well, they're playing to her tune at the moment. Now, if Piasenye wanted to disrupt her race, she could. She could come round McColgan and speed it up or slow it down, just disrupt the lovely, steady tempo that McColgan likes. She almost runs into the back of Eilish there, struggling to keep away from those long, rangy stride of McColgan. The heels coming up very high. It's so difficult to run behind an athlete like that. But I can only assume that Piasenye is comfortable, that Chebet is comfortable, and Eilish will know full well, because she comes through this time, it's 4 laps to go, pretty much a mile to run from now, and they're getting away, these three, and Inglis is having to let them go. That could be her saying goodbye to a medal. She's run superbly, Rob, to hang on this long and be dragged away from most of this field.
She has put together a brilliant race. The Scot in 4th, but so too has the Scot in front. The athlete I would be concerned about from McColgan's point of view is the smaller of the two Kenyans in 3rd, Tim, because she's the only one in the field who has run faster than McColgan over the 5,000 this year. McColgan has the quicker lifetime best between herself and the Kenyan in 3rd, but the youngster, who's only 22, a former world junior champion, she's an African champion. She's a really, really high-quality performer. She was on the podium in Eugene as well. She's run 14:46 this season, and I think she looks slightly more comfortable than the Kenyan just ahead of her in 2nd place.
She is undoubtedly the danger, is Beatrice Chebet, the African 5,000 champion. Looks very comfortable, doesn't she? What she got in those Kenyan legs. McColgan, though, is a canny racer. She will be thinking on her feet, calculating all the time. When do I wind it up? When do I click it up another notch? When do I click it up another notch? Almost like turning up the volume on a radio, just putting the pressure on the athletes behind her. She's looking okay, is Eilish McColgan, coming up towards 4 kilometres at the end of the straight this time. And Chebet, you're right, Rob, looks ominously calm and simple here, doesn't she? They went through 3,853. There's kilometre splits, 258, 257, 257. And this is 4K now. There it is, another 256. She has cranked it up a little bit.
She's run it at her own pace. It's the perfect tactic from McColgan. You could argue she's slightly better as the distances go up, and she will be well aware of the danger posed by the tiny figure running just behind her. I think Hussaini is having to work really hard to stay with McColgan here, but Chebet has got a really economic style. She's a tiny figure in contrast to McColgan, but with 2 laps to go, the Kenyan, who is tracking the long-term leader from Scotland, looks poised to strike. Will McColgan be able to respond this time if the Kenyan does go?
Well, 3 of them away. They are undoubtedly barring disaster, the medalists. Inglis is still in 4th place. Markoch back in 5th. Scott of South Africa in 6th. But this is the battle, and Chebet there almost looked like she's chomping at the bit, ready to go. When does she kick? But McColgan will be expecting this. Has she got something in her armoury to cope with the inevitable attack from at least one of these two Kenyans. The little figure of Chebet, Beatrice Chebet, almost jogging, it seems, on the shoulder of Eilish McColgan. Happy to run wide on the bend, running another 2 or 3 metres there on the outside of lane 1, alongside the Scot. Busienne back in 3rd place. We mustn't discount a 500 to run, Rob, and it's anybody's race.
They are all getting ready for the big, big strike for home. And listen to the roar as they hit the bell. Busaini gets to the front. McColgan has her stride checked. Can she find anything on the last 400 to stay with the two Kenyans?
Well, she's got the speed, has Eilish McColgan now, with 350 metres to run to stay behind these Kenyans. She's almost chopping her stride there, that long, raking stride of hers, the back kick exceptionally high. Has she got the speed? Is there fatigue in those legs after the 10,000? McColgan behind Busienne in Chebet. Kenya 1-2. This is like the men's 10,000 metres with Kiplimo tucked behind two Kenyans as Chebet kicks off the front. McColgan reacts, but maybe a little too late. Behind Busienne, the second Kenyan, a glance over her shoulder. She will be 3rd, but Chebet is gone and away. And the World Championship silver medalist will not be caught now. That's an extraordinary increase in pace. Fabulous running from Beatrice Chebet. Kenya will take gold in the 5,000 metres. She has blasted away. That's 25 metres in the space of 150. She's opened up. It's going to be gold for Kenya all the way. Beatrice Chebet punches the air as she crosses the line. A superb Scottish silver for Eilish McColgan. And a beautiful bronze for Busienne there. Stella Busienne, 12th in the 1500 8 years ago. She's found her distance now. And the winning time, 14:38. A massive personal best for Busienne, going inside 15 minutes for the first time.
Enthralling stuff there. We will cut away from the Alexander Stadium for just a few moments because there is an equally exciting conclusion to the T20 final. The cricket, Australia won the toss. They've batted first, 161 for 8. India have had that total in their sights, in their response all the way. Their captain, Harmanpreet Kaur, made 65. Currently, 149 for 8.
Thank you.
Review pending. And here is that review.
Yeah, so the ball is passing close to the bat. I'd like to check with ultra edge, please. Thank you. Yep, so clear gap, play through. Clear gap between bat and ball. Play all the way through for me, please. Yep, satisfied there is no bat involved. We can move to ball tracking, please. Thank you. Stand by, ball tracking coming up. Thank you. Okay, pitching outside off, impact is in line, wickets are hitting. Back to Jackie on field, please. Stay with your decision of out, stand by. Signal now, signal now.
Jacqueline Williams gets it 100% right in a pressure situation. It was worth the review for India because Dipti Sharma is crucial. India are 8 down now with 149 on the board. Sharma goes for 13.
Mpiga kura upo. IEBC imeweka mikakati kurahisisha utaratibu wa kupiga kura. Uingiapo kituoni utahitajika kuwasilisha kitambulisho au pasipoti yako kwa karani wa IEBC. Maelezo yako yatathibitishwa kwenye mtambo wa KIMS. Baada ya kutambulishwa, utapewa karatasi 6 za kura zenye rangi tofauti za nyadhifa mbalimbali. Elekea kwenye sehemu iliyotengwa kupigia kura kwa siri na uweke alama moja tu kwa kila karatasi kumchagua kiongozi umtakaye. Kisha tumbukiza kila kura kwenye sanduku lenye kifuniko cha rangi sawa na kura yako. Mwishowe utapokwa wino kwenye kidole na uondoke kituoni. IEBC, your vote, your future.
I can't live without my phone. It's my life. It is where everything happens. That's why lazima nikuwe available all the time, offline and online. But there are some bad people out here. If you're not careful, utagonga.
The Communications Authority of Kenya, CA, licenses and regulates mobile operators so you can enjoy safe, quality services at fair prices. Register your SIM card by the 15th of October 2022. The Communications Authority of Kenya, opening your world.
Welcome back. We started off with a little bit of disappointment with the 1500 meters women's final, but thereafter it's just been smiles and it's been glory. 800 meters with Wycliffe Kinyamal, and now the women's 5000 meters final with Beatrice Chebet. Absolutely amazing race. She was superb.
Oh, definitely, Fayyaz. I think everybody, even in the studio here, everybody had a big smile, and we believe that across the country in Kenya and Kenyans all over the world are celebrating now that, we've gone up to actually 7 gold medals, which means that, we are up into the number 10 bracket, which is being led, of course, by Australia, who have got 156 to their credit. Kenya was out of the 10 because I think the last one of the 10 was Nigeria, who had 6 medals, but now we've got 7. So which means Kenya now is moving up to the top 10, which is a great feeling. And of course, it's a very interesting.
At the end of the day, I think
it's a very interesting race. The long distance races are normally very tactical, and somebody could say, why did Busiene let out? But you can see that it's Busiene. It was actually a joint venture.
I think Busiene played a big role in this race.
Oh,
if you remember that point where she accelerated and she gave Chebet that room to just slide right across, and then it was just Chebet all the way.
Yeah, it was
I think she played a big role. Salah Busiene, definitely.
Yeah, normally when you've got more than one racer in an event, especially for long distance, you can play those games. You can actually tire out, like in the case of McColgan. She was the only one, and she was actually sandwiched by the two, and that gave her more pressure. But who can believe that finishing kick from Chebet? It was fantastic. Reminded me of Mary Mora in the 800 meters yesterday.
Toby's been a great night so far. Like I said, disappointment initially, but so far we're all smiles all the way.
Oh yes, and we're gonna say, okay, javelins are going on now with Julius Yego in it, and later on we shall also have other Kenyans in the 4x400. No, there will be the 4x400 relay final. Then there is also the 4x400 women's final, where we've got also Winnie Chebet, Veronica Mutua, Yarinta Mawia, and Mary Mora, and that will be also another thing.
Thank you, Toby. Now it's time to go back to the news after that interesting 5,000 meter women's final. The U.S. Embassy has urged Kenya to conduct a free, fair and transparent general election. U.S. Ambassador to Kenya, Meg Whitman, says the United States enjoys cordial relations and enduring partnerships, and the U.S. investment in Kenya and bilateral trade are important elements of the U.S.-Kenya relationship. Whitman said the U.S. was ready to help Kenya in ensuring there was peace and...
U.S. Ambassador to Kenya, Meg Whitman, has urged Kenyans to coexist peacefully during the electioneering period. Ambassador Whitman, who assumed the U.S. Embassy Nairobi office last week, said that the U.S. is ready to help Kenya in ensuring there is peace and harmony during and after the elections.
The coincidence of my arrival with the upcoming national elections makes this an even more poignant time to get on the ground and witness Kenya's vibrant democracy in action. As President Biden said, democracy does not happen by accident. We have to defend it, fight for it, strengthen it, renew it. We stand shoulder to shoulder with the Kenyan people during this election season. Our programs at the embassy support democratic values and, crucially, are non-partisan.
Whitman says food insecurity concerns and improved trade relations will be a priority for her office after the August polls.
I will meet with political and civil society leaders, the media, and Kenyans throughout the country to hear their perspectives on how best our countries can work together to promote the democratic values that we share, including respect for the rule of law and fundamental freedoms.
Whitman made the remarks while paying tribute to the 213 lives lost in the 1998 U.S. Embassy bombing attack on 7th of August 1998, of whom 44 were Americans.
I will get back to you with what my understanding is on how those victims are, if and when, are going to be compensated.
Whitman says she looks forward to working with any candidate that gets the mandate from Kenyans to form the next government. Irene Mchuma Odim, Sunday Express.
It was a race against time for voters as hundreds of commuters on Sunday flocked various bus termini for upcountry travel ahead of the elections. Many travellers were stranded due to a shortage of public service vehicles, with the available vehicles hiking their fares. Trevor Ngendo with the details.
These were the scenes on Sunday afternoon in the capital city as hundreds of travellers rushed to board vehicles to their different upcountry destinations to participate in Tuesday polls. Most of the bus termini witnessing full bookings and a shortage of vehicles, leaving operators unable to meet the demand.
Tumekuwa na usafiri, watu wamesafiri wengi wanaenda kupiga kura manyumbani na wengi labda kama ni kutoka Nzoroka, lakini sasa sisi tumejipanga vilivyo. Sipokuwa hatuna magari nyingi ya kutoza sababu ya nauli na mafuta, mambo iliongezeka. Sisi kampuni yetu pia tuko na standard price, yani hatuongesangi bei eti kwamba watu ni wengi ni wachache. Bei yetu ni ile ile tu, hiyo wakati watu wako wengi wako wachache, huwa bei yetu iko namna hiyo.
We are witnessing scenes like never before today. Ordinarily, on a Sunday afternoon, you'd hardly see such number of people moving from one place to the other. But with just a day and a few hours left to the polls on Tuesday, a lot of commuters are traveling from one place to the other to go and elect their leaders.
With fares already hiked, many stranded commuters were left without an option.
Hivi juzi tulipouliza bei ya gari tukaambiwa 1200. Leo kufika hapa asubuhi kitu saa 3 nikapata gari ni shilingi 2200. Sasa na hii uchumi vile kuko imebidi tulipe kwa sababu tunaenda kupiga kura.
Kama serikali ingekuwa na magari ya kusafirisha watu kwenda kupiga kura ingekuwa taa jambo, lakini naona watu wengi hawataenda nyumbani kupiga kura because fare iko juu.
Ni fare warudishe fare chini, kwa maana sisi tukitoka hapa tukienda tukienda Eastern bado fare ya kurudi itakuwa juu. Kitu yenye tunaomba serikali itupunguzie bei ya kurudi.
To some, the last-minute rush was a blessing in disguise, but to others, things are different.
Sisi kama watu wa biashara, sisi ni oka. Sisi oka, biashara yetu iko chini. Kwa kuuza watu wanunui, mtu kienda kumuuzia na kuambia fare iko juu. Unaona? Fare iko juu sana, fare iko juu. Hata magari zile zilikuwa zinaenda zimeletwa zile gari ndogo ndogo bado wamebanisha fare. Sasa mtu akienda 3000 nyumbani hawezi nunua kitu. Kwa sisi upande wetu tunaumia. Na mimi hivi, kwenye niko hivi, hata mimi ningependa kwenda nyumbani nipate kura. Nipige kura nyumbani, lakini sijapata hiyo fare.
Calls for peaceful elections were in order, as many remained optimistic that the elections will be peaceful.
Niomba wa Kenya tudumisha amani kila mahali tuko. Wewe kwenye huko dumisha amani.
Kila Mkenya ako hapa Kenya akubali, either ukue pande ya opposition ama ukue pande ya serikali, ukubali matokeo. Na amani, tutudumishe amani sisi wananchi wa Kenya.
Sisi kama wananchi wa Kenya sisi ni mandugu. Tutapiga kura itaisha, lakini tutarejea makazi zetu na tutakuwa pamoja na wale ambao pengine walipiga kura kwa mrengo ingine, na yule ambaye atakayeshinda ni kiongozi wa sisi zote.
Trevor Ngendo for Sunday Express.
Kisumu Bus Park was on Sunday thronged by travellers seeking transport to their rural homes ahead of the voting exercise on Tuesday. As Wycliffe Okech reports from Kisumu County, public service operators have also adjusted bus fares downwards to allow passengers travel and participate in the forthcoming vote.
With just a day left to Tuesday's vote, Kenyans across the country continue to flock bus parks in bid to avoid being locked out of the important event. The lakeside city of Kisumu on Sunday experienced an influx of passengers seeking to travel to their rural homes ahead of the forthcoming ballot.
Mimi ninaenda Homa Bay, mahali penye nilizaliwa, ndio ninaenda kupiga kura huko, lakini kama abiria nimepatikana hapa Kisumu.
Watu wanasafiri kwa wingi na ninatumai ya kwamba hawaendi na kura. Kama pale zamani watu walikuwa wanaogopa ya kwamba vita zinaweza toka hapa na pale, lakini naona watu wanasafiri kwa wingi. Ukiangalia hapa, lakini saizi kuna upungufu wa magari.
Interestingly, public service operators uncharacteristically adjusted bus fares downwards to allow passengers to travel and partake in the exercise.
Even the price of the fares has not even risen up. People are very happy because they are going back to do their elections. So as a matter of fact, even in stage here, people are very humble. We only pray that the elections go very humbly, peacefully as we are heading on Tuesday.
Kutoka Kisumu ilikuwa 350, lakini wametupunguzia bei. Tena imekuwa sawa kwa sababu wametujali ya kwamba wale wenye wanasafiri waende wapige kura kwa usalama. Wameweka hiyo bei, imekuwa 200 shillings.
In relation to election preparedness in the county, poll officials are exuding confidence of a smooth electoral process, with the mapping of polling centers being the main activity on Sunday.
We are very prepared for Tuesday in terms of 2022 general elections. One, all the presiding officers are trained and they've been deployed. All the clerks have been trained. They'll be joining them in their different polling stations. We have 222 stations. The agents have been briefed and trained enough to the extent that we say they are set to go. With the residents have also been informed via our register. All the registers are pinned next to the stations. What's remaining is basically simple logistics for today and tomorrow before they actually leave post stations. As you can see right now, our presiding officers are going to do mapping this afternoon to actually confirm the exact positions of the stations.
The officials continued their rallying call for the electorate to come out in numbers and vote for preferred candidates come Tuesday. For Sunday Express from Kisumu County, I am Wycliffe Okech.
Mombasa County Returning Officer Swalha Yusuf has confirmed that all election materials, including ballot papers, have arrived in the county and will be dispatched to their respective polling centers tomorrow. She called on voters to turn up in large numbers and execute their constitutional right, assuring them of their security.
With just a day to the much-awaited 9th August polls, IEBC officials say they are ready to deliver to the country a credible, fair and peaceful election. In Mombasa, it's all systems go as the returning officer Swalha Yusuf confirming they have received all the required materials ahead of the election date.
So far, we have received all the materials, including all the ballot papers, and we are set for 6 a.m., where the voting will begin in all the polling stations in Mombasa County.
While addressing journalists at the Mombasa County IEBC offices, Swalha assured voters of their security, noting that they have mapped out the hotspots, which will be well manned by the General Service Unit officers.
We have deployed GSU in different parts, especially in the areas that are deemed hotspots. Most of the areas are Kisauni, Nyali and Likoni, but generally we have the GSU all over Mombasa because we want to ensure that our people vote freely, they vote peacefully, and that's why we have enhanced the security in the county.
Swalha noted that only accredited personnel will be allowed in the polling and tallying centers during vote counting.
The agents must be accredited, the media must be accredited, the observers, the candidates who walk in, see the process and leave the station. We also have the poll officials and IBC staff. Other than those people that I've mentioned, we don't expect any person to be at the polling station. We expect the voters to move in, vote, and go back home.
Meanwhile, Archbishop of the Archdiocese of Mombasa, Martin Kivuva, has called for peace among Kenyans during and after the elections. These sentiments were echoed by Kaya elders.
Matokeo yakitokea vyovyote vile, kubali. Kama una sababu za kuwa unatishia kwamba unaona umeonewa, tuna makoti yetu ama sehemu za kupeleka shida hizo litatuliwe.
Naomba uchaguzi wa amani, kwa sababu ikiwa hatutachaguana na amani tutakuwa tumeikoroga hii nchi yetu ama tumeichoma.
Kwa hiyo ombi langu ni kuwasihi vijana wa pwani au wa Kenya yote kwa ujumla, kesho kutwa tujitokeze tupige kura kwa amani, kwa sababu tusipozingatia amani, hivi sasa hata tuna njaa, unga hauonekani. Tukifanya fujo ndio tutakufa na njaa.
From Mombasa County, I am Anburu.
Carrying on with the sporting weekend, Team Kenya finished 4th overall as the curtains came down on the World Athletics Under-20 Championships in Cali, Colombia. USA marked the overall winners of 15 medals, 7 gold, 4 silver and 4 bronze, while Jamaica and Ethiopia completed the top 3 nations on the log. This is what we have for you.
Kenya's Brenda Chebet clocked 4 minutes, 4.64 seconds to bag silver in the women's 1500 meters final, while compatriot Purity Chepkirui settled for bronze after clocking 4 minutes, 7.64 seconds. The duo also set their personal best in a race that was won by Ethiopia's Barke Heolom.
This is the last 50 meters, and it looks like it will be Kayam of Ethiopia from Chebet. And indeed it is, and Chepkirui, she comes through for the bronze medal.
In the men's 800 meters final, Noah Kibet clocked 1 minute 48.50 seconds, a time that saw him finish 7th in the race. Ethiopia's Eremias Girma won the race, clocking 1 minute 47.36 seconds. Jen Gatti and Maureen Cherotich finished 6th and 7th in the 5,000 women's race that was dominated by Ethiopian duo Medina Elsa and Meknat Wodu. In the men's 3,000 meter steeplechase, Emmanuel Wafula and Haron Kibet were placed 6th and 10th respectively in a race which saw Samuel Duguna and Samuel Firemu of Ethiopia clinch gold and silver respectively. Kenya finished 4th overall with 3 gold, 3 silver and 4 bronze medals. In the previous edition of the World Junior Championship that was hosted at Kasarani Stadium last year, Kenya emerged victorious with 8 gold, 1 silver and 7 bronze, while Finland and Nigeria finished 2nd and 3rd respectively.
Who attacked her with 200 meters to go. You'd say that was pretty inch perfect in the end.
Marion Gedenji from Nanyuki Golf Club has been crowned the overall winner of the inaugural Safaricom Golf Tour held at the Vipingo Ridge Baobab Golf Course in Kilifi County. The event marked the close of the inaugural Safaricom Golf Tour series that was launched in January at the semi-public golf park. With the tour having traversed 14 golf courses, this is some of the action captured today.
The price of success is heavy. Playing off handicap 37, Githinji, who had qualified for the finals after emerging the winner in the ladies category in Nanyuki, returned to the score of 47 stable phone points, courtesy of 23 points in the front line and 24 points in the back line to claim the overall title.
I'm lost for words. This is the first time playing here. But I think I had a very good to start with. They made the game interesting, and I was lucky to play with one of the junior golfers, Bianca. I think that's someone you should watch out for.
Claiming the top prize in the ladies category was Kenyan Air Force player Grace Naserian, with 44 points ahead of Elizabeth Njau of the Royal Nairobi Golf Club, who settled for the runners-up on 32 points.
We had significant interest from outreach programs. So far, we've interested 9,000 participants across all the 14 events that we held, of which about 6,000 were juniors, including the outreach program, up to 3,000 engaged through the outreach program.
In the men's category, Dr. Kipkirui Langat of Qureishi Golf Club fended off stiff competition from his club mate Erastus Orina to emerge the winner with 36 points on count back. The Saturday event marked the close of the inaugural Safaricom Golf Tour series that was launched in January after the semi-public golf club, with the tour having traversed 14 golf courses across the country, drawing a field of more than 9,000 participants in various tournaments, junior clinics and outreach programs. The junior tournaments winners will have a chance to attend 3-day elite camp later in the year. Junior Golf Foundation will conduct the training in partnership with the US Kids Golf Foundation. For Sunday Express, I'm Daniel Mwendwa.
Well, we are crowning off a very wonderful evening in Birmingham this evening, with Kenya bringing home 2 gold medals with the women's 5,000 meters, and where Winnie Chebet was the star. And well, and also coming up, remember that the action is still coming up, and we still expect some more medals. Javelin, Julius Yego, Commonwealth champion, world champion, is in the finals of the javelin. While in the men's 4x400 meter relay, we have got Weissman Were, Boniface Mweresa, William Mutunga, and Emmanuel Corril also to face Barbados, Nigeria, Botswana, Jamaica, India, Trinidad and Tobago, and Zambia. While the women's 4x400 meter relay, we also have Winnie Chebet, Veronica Mtua, Jarinda Mawia, and Mary Mora, facing England, Jamaica, Nigeria, Botswana, Canada, South Africa, and Scotland. So that crowns up a very great evening today, and I think the Kenyans have got a reason to smile today despite that hiccup in the women's 5,000 meters. I'm Topi Lembila signing off today and say keep it KBC Channel 1, your true sports partner. We are still going on with the sports, and of course remember the elections are just round the corner in 2 days' time. Now over to you, Fayyaz.
Thank you very much, Topi. Always at his best. Of course, like you said, we started off in a disappointing way with the women's 1,500 meters. Then it was 800 meters with the Wycliffe Kinyamal, and then of course the women's 5,000 meters with the Beatrice Chebet. So it's been a great day so far for the Kenyans, and like Topi said, let's expect some more from the javelin with the Julius Yego, and of course the men's 4x400 meter relay final, and then the women's 4x400 meter relay final. Well, that's all from our newsroom. I'm Fayyaz Qureishi. Our extensive election coverage continues with our seasoned journalists Ben Troy Njue and Doreen Arange. Thank you very much. Have a good evening.
If you fail to plan, you plan to fail.